Now, critics of the procedure say it's not such an excellent thing. One of those who's sounding alarm bells is Dr. David King from watchdog group Human Genetics Alert. He joins us now from London. Dr. King, many see this as a groundbreaking new procedure. We know you don't oppose genetic research. So what's the main argument against this new IVF treatment?
Well, the main concern is that once we cross this line, which governments around the world have agreed for a very long time, that we simply should not genetically alter human beings, once you cross that line, then it becomes really hard to not to take the next step and the next step and end up in that world of genetically engineered designer babies, with enhanced characteristics and tall and athletic and beautiful and so on. That kind of world of eugenics, which, the history of the 20th century ought to tell us is really a disastrous thing for our society. The trouble is, once you cross that line, it's very hard to avoid ending up in that place. And actually, this technique is actually medically unnecessary because there's already a perfectly good way in which you can prevent those genetic diseases being passed on, which is conventional egg donation using the egg of another woman. So all these diseases, all these new techniques achieve is that the mother becomes genetically related to her child. Everybody can, of course, understand wanting to be genetically related to your child, but when you consider that these new very complex and invasive techniques to the embryo actually impose risk on the child, when you add that to the risks to society, I don't think it's justified by the fact that a very small number of women, want to be genetically related to their child.
All right, Dr. King, you mentioned, this issue of the creation of so-called designer babies. Well, we're not really talking about eugenics and wanting a child with blue or brown eyes here, are we? We're talking about life-threatening diseases, aren't we?
Yes, unfortunately, I quite agree that I wouldn't use that term in this case, applied to avoiding these diseases. But as I said, the trouble is once you have crossed that line of starting to genetically alter children, you sort of cut your own ground away from underneath your feet in order to try and resist the next step and the step after that. And we've seen this time and again with genetic research, that's how it always proceeds. And there's always an argument of some very seemingly deserving cause, and we end up in places